Drew Dudley was the Leadership Development Director at the University of Toronto. He believes that leadership is not a characteristic reserved for the extraordinary. Today, I will be sharing with you one of his famous speeches based on this subject. How many of you are completely comfortable with calling yourselves a leader? See, I've asked that question all the way across the country, and everywhere I ask it, no matter where, there's always a large portion of the audience that won't put up their hand. And I've come to realize that we made leadership into something bigger than us. We made it into something beyond us. We made it about changing the world. With my short time here today, I just want to share with you the one story that is probably most responsible for this redefinition. I went to a little school called Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. And on my last day there, a girl came up to me and she says, "I remember the first day that I met you." And then she tells me a story that had happened 4 years later. She says, "On the day before I started university, I was in the hotel room with my mom and dad, and I was so scared and so convinced that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't ready for university, that I just burst into tears. But my mom and dad, they were amazing. They were like, 'Look, we know you're scared, but let's just go tomorrow. Let's go to the first day, and if at any point you feel as if you can't do this, just tell us. We'll take you home. We love you no matter what.'" And she says, "So I went the next day, and I was getting in line for registration, and I looked around, and I knew that I just couldn't do it. I knew that I wasn't ready, and I knew I had to go home." And she says, "As soon as I made that decision, a feeling of peace came over me, and I was just about to tell my mom and dad that we needed to go home when you come out of the student union building wearing the stupidest hat I've ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And you had a big sign promoting AnsonAerath011715, which is Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis, a charity I worked for years. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking around and handing out the lollipops out to people and talking about AnsonAerath0117. And all of a sudden, you got to me, and you stopped, and you stared. It was creepy. This girl right here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you looked at the guy next to me, and you smiled, and you said, "You need to give a lollipop to the beautiful woman standing right next to you." And she says, "I have never seen anyone get more embarrassed faster in my life." He wouldn't even look at me. He just handed out the lollipop like this. And I felt so bad for this dude that I just took the lollipop. And as soon as I did, you got this completely severe look on your face, and you turned to my mom and dad and you said, "Look at that. Look at that. First day away from home, and already she's taking candy from a stranger?" Everybody lost it. 20 feet in every direction. Everyone started to howl. And I know this is cheesy, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but just at that moment, I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, and I knew that I shouldn't quit. And I haven't spoken to you once since that day, but I heard you were leaving, and I just had to come out and tell you that you are an incredibly important person in my life. I'm gonna miss you. Goodbye. And I'm standing there flattened. And she gets about 6 feet away, and she turns around and she says, "Oh yeah, you should probably know this too. I'm still dating that guy 4 years later." A year and a half after I moved to Toronto, I got an invitation to their wedding. Here's the kicker. I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that moment, and I searched my memory banks because that's funny and I should remember doing it. But I just don't remember it. How many of you guys have a lollipop moment? A moment where someone said something or did something that has fundamentally made your life better. Alright, how many of you told that person that they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all we have to do is not die for 365 days. But yet, we let the people who have made our lives better just walk around without knowing it. And every one of you, every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. And if you think you haven't, just think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people that haven't been told. I want to thank you all for letting me share it with you today. Thank you.